All right, all right, all right. Good to be with you guys here tonight for our, let's see. All right, good to see you guys. Who is with me? Who is on the chat? We got 9 folks coming in live. We got Autumn all around 11. First one, we got Connie. Welcome to the broadcast, Connie. Good to have you here. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Let's see. We got Thorn, Jeffrey LaPlante. Fantastic. Hello, Miriam. Good to see you. Good to be with you. Glad to be here. Let me drop my screen here so you guys can see the lovely office I do my work in. Yes, who we got? We got Gary. Good to see you, Gary. How are you? Brian, my main man, ACNP. Was Arturo. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, folks. I bid you a good evening, and I hope that you guys are doing well. Always love to have my live session, the Ask Me Anything session. And hope you guys had a fantastic Christmas. We haven't done this, I think, since December 12th. So maybe we had quite a bit of things happening in your world. I got a couple things happening in mine. I'll start our evening off tonight with a story or two about what's been going on. Brian says his daughter Addie says, 12 on Saturday. It's big time. What's up, Danny from Connecticut? How you doing, man? Glad to have you on as well. We got Thomas Smith, Matthew Fletcher, Gary Schultz, Jan, Rayborn. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Scott from Hayesville. Who is the farthest one away? We got Paul. Been a long time. Busy, busy, busy. Good to see you, Paul. Glad to have you on here, as always. Happy to have you. Happy to have you. Sure enough. I'm going to get a little mint. Make sure that we can keep all things moving slowly. We got Dallas. We got Jonathan, the compounding couple. Yeah, I remember from the chat. Good to see you. We got New Jersey, LA. Autumn's all the way from LA, guys. She's the winner so far. NorCal, that's pretty far. Los Lunas, New Mexico. I was in New Mexico November. Lovely. It was lovely. Lovely. Actually, I was there in October, I think. All the air balloons are up in the air. Lake Charles, Louisiana. All right, all right, all right. Naples, Florida, right in my neck of the woods. Very good. All right, well, let's get this party started. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. I do this because I love you, and I want to get on here and answer your questions about trading, about life. And Christian says here, for a new student, learning how to student traders for a simple strategy for placing trade orders to learn. Try to rewrite that question so I can answer it better. Patrick from Mexico. Mexico. ¿Dónde Mexico, Patrick? ¿De dónde vas? TMS. Yep. Liking TMS. TMS. Pretty good. Pretty good on Iris. Yep. Good. Just know original when you bring up trade ideas like from a service like Iris, not a lot of folks will know what you're talking about. Larry Craig from St. Pete. All right. Well, friends, let's dive in. Let's dive in. I want to start off today by telling you a quick story about my Christmas break. Fun fact from my Christmas break. Took my boys. I do this thing, and I want to encourage you guys to do the same. I do this thing with my children, my 3 sons, that when they turn 13, I take them on a 13-year-old birthday trip. And the purpose of this trip is really something that I think our society, our culture has lost, and that is called a rite of passage. Somebody tell me in the chat, when I say rite of passage, what do you think I mean? What is a rite of passage? And passage from where to where? Like where are you coming from? Where are you going? 13 years old. What in your mind is a rite of passage? Yes, you got it, Jonathan. Entering manhood. You're going from being 12 to 13, and you're entering your teenage years. And for me, I mark it as, well, technically at 18, you're an adult, and I don't have legal responsibility, or should say not responsibility, always have responsibility. Your kids are always your kids, but I don't, after that, legally, you're on your own. And so I make it a point at 13. Don't think I came up with this. Somebody smarter than me came up with this, and I promise we'll get to trading ultimately, but it has to do with trading. So pay attention. At 13, you're 5 years from being an adult. And so I legally obligated, good word, Jonathan. And so I have this rite of passage trip where I tell my boys, you can go anywhere you want. Well, not anywhere, because Cooper wanted to go to Japan. I said, we're not going to Japan. All right. Because my gangly butt's not going to fit on that plane, and I'm not paying for, lay down seats, if you know what I'm saying. So he wanted to go to Japan. Instead, my son Cooper wanted to go back where he was born to New Hampshire to go skiing. Okay. Now, set the scene. I promise going to have to do with you. I have 3 boys. My oldest, my youngest tend to be the ones that gravitate toward athletics. My middle son, not so much. And my oldest son, for his 13th birthday rite of passage, he wanted to go up to Jay's Peak in Vermont to go skiing with his friends. So we did that. First day, rough with my oldest son, Jackson, 2 years ago in Vermont. Rough. All right. And so with my middle son, who is not as athletically inclined as my other 2 boys, when he's like, Dad, I want to go to Vermont to go skiing. I'm like, or to New Hampshire to go skiing. I was like, you sure you don't want to go to like the Caribbean and go surfing or like go scuba diving? I mean, we could go, bungee jumping. The purpose is to have a challenge, something that's hard, something that's scary, something that is, outside of your comfort zone. Right. You've seen the stories in the old days. Rite of passage was like hunting a wolf. I mean, have you ever watched the movie 300? That was his thing. He like hunted a wolf, and like that's how he was tough enough to be, in there. Right. So that said, my son said he wanted to go skiing or survival for 3 nights. Yeah, I did a thing when I was a teenager called Outward Bound. Has anyone ever done Outward Bound? Where part of it was a solo, where you're by yourself. We were literally tied up in a boat as if we were stranded at sea, going down the Colorado River in this canyon overnight. And it was hard. And so the purpose of the rite of passage is to do something hard to prove to yourself that you can make it, that you can do it, right? So Cooper wanted to go skiing. I was nervous, not athletically inclined. See where I'm going here? Okay. So we get to the mountain and we go down the bunny slopes the first trip down the mountain. And he falls 3 times. All 3 times he cannot get himself back up on his skis. We have to take off his skis. I literally have to pick him up. And he's not a small boy. And get him back in his skis. It was a long first run. And I'm thinking like, ay Dios mío, like this is going to be a long day. Are we ever going to get to a chairlift? I hate the magic carpet that takes us up there. Okay. Busy holiday, New Hampshire. Yeah, Miriam, you got it. All right. And so we get up to the top of the bunny slopes for second run. And I'm expecting the same. And Cooper makes his way down the bunny slope. And you know what? It clicked. I can't explain it. Like it clicked. Whether he took instruction, whether it finally made sense in his brain, he came down that bunny slope like bam, 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 got to the bottom. And I don't like to curse, but I said to him, I looked him in the eyes just like this. I said, Cooper, what the hell just happened? Right. And he's like, I don't know, Dad. I got it. I was like, I guess you do. And his brother, Jackson, had been skiing before he went skiing in Vermont, took all day, right? Tears, lots of struggle. Second run, he got it. And he does rollerblade, Miriam. That might be the thing. He does rollerblade. So maybe that helps him. He's like, Dad, it's just like the ripstick, this like funny skateboard he has. But he got it. And then the third trip, we went up the chairlift. Now I'm terrified. Now we can fall at the side of a mountain. Comes down the run, got it. Like I was so proud of my boy. The reason I tell you this, guys and gals, is because I think far too often we don't put ourselves in situations to fail. And oftentimes because of people in your life that are me, where I'm like, are you sure? Are you, and could they sense the doubting? Yeah. By the end of the day, he was doing blues. By the end of the day, Jackson was doing blacks. And I was like amazed. And it made me think like, gosh, how many times have I held him back by doubting him when, what was possible for him was even more than I could have imagined. And I think the same thing happens in trading. All right. Where, trading isn't complicated, but it's also, not necessarily easy because we're both dealing with the charts and with ourselves, with our psychology, with our fear, with our worry, with our greed, all the things. Many of you guys have experienced that, felt that, seen that, right? But I just thought to myself with Cooper, who knocked this out on the second run, how many times do we put ourselves, how many times do you put yourself in a place where it's a rite of passage? Like you're going from where you are to where you want to be, and you got to get through that place and prove it to yourself. Honestly, for me, last thing I'll say before I get into trading and your questions, for me, that rite of passage was college basketball. Like college basketball was one of the hardest things I ever had to endure. Constant work, constant soreness, constant pressure, right? Not want to lose my scholarship, not wanting to go home with my tail between my legs. And you know what? I know I got through it day by day, waking up, meet the challenge, do the work, and just slowly get better. Now, oftentimes we have to like see this progress. We have to see this, this win, this thing, this here, this. And so many people give up on trading because they fall the first time down the bunny slopes and they're like, it's not for me, right? But rarely did they know if they went down a second time, maybe it just clicks. Maybe they get it, right? Or maybe they're like Jackson that has to like suffer all day long through tears. Now, let me ask you in the chat. For some of you, did you get, when it comes to trading, what we're talking about, did it come quickly? Have you had days like Jackson where there's tears and frustration? Are you, that's my question to you guys. Miriam was skiing at competitions. I love that. Original said he's with Jackson. Yeah. Four months to finally go on a trade. Okay. Still don't get it. That's all right. Super Sam says, I'm still crying. No brutal days. Nope. Still trying. Well, here, my encouragement to you guys is this, like, we don't know what run it's going to take. For Jackson, it was like run 17 for him. All right. But each time when you are growing yourself, when you are analyzing, when you are taking the time to review the trade, not just clack, 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 just clicking off trades, and actually, having someone instruct you and help you, which is what I'm doing here, I think a lot more people would ultimately find what they're looking for if they're willing to push through the frustration, right? Because once it clicks, I remember when it clicked for me in trading, and I was like, oh, right. But I'm just, what my superpower is? Come here. My superpower is? I'm too dumb to quit. I'm too dumb to quit. That's it. So we will all get there. Give yourself the time. Maybe you'll be like Cooper. Maybe you'll be like Jackson. Maybe you're still trying, but we press in. And if Arturo or folks say, I lost 10K, I lost 5K, guys, paper trade. Like, get up your shots in the gym and practice before you get in a game, before you put money on the line, and then just, go small until it starts to really come. Let your account scale up your position. Okay. Too legit to quit. I love it. All right. So let's dive in. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a document and I'm going to put in your questions. So if you got questions, ask me anything session, now's your time. Put the questions in chat. I'm going to copy and paste them into my document and I'm going to dive into them. So let's see here. Oh yeah, don't think, Jonathan, I don't have a dad joke for you guys. All right, I'm writing these in. Hold on, copy, paste. Okay. All right, let's go. Fairly new to options. All right, let me write this in. Okay, I'm recording all your questions. These are good. Questions about ATRs. I'll talk about that. No problem. Okay, problem is the chat is white, so I got to make all these things black, which is no fun. I miss Becca. All right, let's see here. Tesla. All right. I'm recording all your questions. So a little bit of patience with me as I get these things down. All right. Thomas Smith has a question. I'm going to answer that. Okay, let's see. Best screener for options and puts. I have an answer for that. No problem. I'm going to get to 10 questions and I'll take some more. We talk about ATRs. Yes, I wrote that down for new student. OCO trades. Okay, great. Got that marked. Okay, I will. Got that one down. New student wanted to know about options in terms of the ones we pick. Okay, great. Let's see. Some names. Do you think about those names? All right. Now let's see. Ooh. What's my daily routine approach? Okay, I like it. That's a good question. All right. What else? What else? What else? What else? We can talk about zero data trades if you want, but make sure you want what you get when you get it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's see. I'm looking through these. I got one more from Autumn here. I think I'm going to review these and then try and go through them as I can. Using my flex grid. Okay. A whole page of questions. These are good, friends. These are good. These are good. Let's see. Let's see. Determine when option. How do you determine when option premiums too costly to trade? Got that. Okay. Should we be using Active Trader or all products tabs to place orders and trades? Okay, I can answer that. That's quick. It's quick. And maybe I do two more and then I dive in. Okay. And opening range break strategy. Good. Okay. All right. Now I didn't write down your names who said these, but I'm gonna do my best to answer them as I can. And then you indicators. All right, indicators. I'll do that last one for indicators. Let's see. There's a lot of questions. Okay. Remember the link for indicators. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, great. Price targets, price targets, price targets. Got it, got it, got it. All right, let's go through these, friends. Let's go through them one by one. Price targets. All right, let's start from the bottom. Start from the bottom, now we're here. All right, price targets. How do I determine price targets? Let me give you an example of price targets, and I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Entire screen, boom. Okay, price targets. All right, so let's take a look at this trade. A couple weeks ago, some of y'all might have got this. I gave this trade on Amazon, on Google, right? On Google. Okay, now what I liked about it was Google was pulling back to this clear level. Do you guys see the level? Tell me you see this level, right? Where right here, right, we couldn't get above it, couldn't get above it, couldn't get above it, and then bam, we broke and found support. So here is a note for you guys, right? And I should probably start taking notes so you guys can have these notes. I'll give them to you. Right, let's go notes. All right, ask me anything session. Oh, I forgot. How dare I? We got to do our dad joke before, we got to do the dad joke. It's Jan 12. My man Brian ACMP hooked me up with a dad joke a day Jan 12, here's our dad joke. Every time I get to work, I hide. Why? Good employees are hard to find. Every time I get to work, I hide. Why? Good employees are hard to find. Oh, Brian, you're the best. You're the best. All right. So, AMA session 1/12/26. Great. Okay. How to determine targets for trades, right? Well, one way is percentage based. And you can do that with 20% win. Let's say you take 3 contracts or shares, right? You can sell one at 20%. I should say plus 20%. Sell one at plus 40%, and then sell one at plus 100%, right? That's one way to do it, right? Second way, right, is from the chart. And that's say, look at previous resistance or previous highs. All right, so Google's an example. I bought at previous resistance, which was 296. I targeted 330, which was previous high. All right. So this is one way to do targets. When this came back down here, I was targeting back up here, roughly 330, because that's where that previous high was. So I thought, hey, if it came back down here, found support at the 21, right? This is a confluence. That's a mixing of previous support and a general support level of the 21 EMA. It bounced from there. Beautiful. And now it's up 400% on those Google Jan 16 320 calls. If you don't know, you better ask somebody, because that was nice. And today it hit like 400%, real nice. So again, you can target. You could just say, hey, look, I'm going to pay myself 20%, 40%, 100%. And I would do this, right? If you are bad at taking profit, start here, right? Start here, right? But that's one thing I would say to y'all is to consider that in terms of that way to take profit, okay? Either by percentage or by previous levels, namely, right, by saying, hey, what was the last high that this thing found resistance at? 330? Okay, I would imagine find resistance there. Bam, bada, bam. All right, pay yourself. There you go. Next question. Opening range break strategy for stocks. Is there a way to play options during opening range break setups on an intraday? If so, like a small video showing how to take option trades doing ORB intraday. It's the same strategy. If you guys know what opening range break is. So for example, let me go to this chart. So here is the first, let's see, 5-minute chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's 6. So 10 o'clock, this is the high in ES, right? You can do the same thing for SPY. Let's go SPY, right? Same thing for Monday. Okay, here's the opening range from at 10 o'clock. This was the high. So you go in here, you mark the high. That's the opening range, first half hour. And then it comes back down. Well, that didn't work. And then when it breaks, right, that's when you take the trade, right? Once it breaks the opening range and it broke at 693.9, you could take the 95 calls. So let me go through this. intraday trading strategy. Opening range break, right? Set the high and the low of the first 30 minutes. If it breaks above or below that, take the option that is more than 3 to 5 days out. I should say take the option, the next option strike price that is more than 3 to 5 days out. So what does that mean? Today, let me clear this. Jan 12, SPY broke opening range of 393. What was it? 393.90. You could take the SPY Jan 16. 16. 395 calls, right? 395 calls and set your targets and stop loss, right? So, I'm sorry, what am I sorry? 693, excuse me. 393, crazy, right? So yeah, you can do that pretty much anywhere you want to, but this is just one example where you come in, you see the first half hour, it sets that top, which was the close of the previous day, all right? And then it comes back up, and then you could even wait for the pullback if you want to, but notice this thing ultimately went to 696 from 393.90 would have been a great trade, right? Good question. Okay, let me go back to change this back. ES is the futures chart, and I have this on my other screen at all times. Cool. All right. Good question. Let's go to the next question. Should we use Active Trader or All Products tab to place orders? Active Trader or All Products tab to place orders. Well, it's really up to you. The All Products, it's just more cumbersome, right? I'm going to put this in. I like to use the Active Trader because it's easier, but the All Products tab on Thinkorswim allows me to place trades based on price level of the stock. So it depends on what I'm trying to do, right? Either or, depends on what I'm trying to do. Okay. Jack, you can do the 15-minute range break if you want. I use the 30-minute because it's the clearing range. That's what I use. Nice. I like it, Brian. Good. How do you determine when options trades, options premium is too costly? All right. Copy that. General rule, when the theta is larger than the delta. But if I intend for the trade to be just a day trade, then I sometimes ignore this rule because I'm not holding it overnight to eat all the theta, if that makes sense. Okay. Please move your head. How about I just move the notes instead of moving my head? Because I can't move my head. See, if I move my head, it doesn't do anything, right? But if I move the notes, you can see them. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Let's see. When I'm using your flex grid in Thinkorswim and I add my stops, it's not working properly. It's not selling, passes the stops. It was working, but it's not anymore. Tough question to answer because I'm not sure what you're doing to tell you what to do differently. Let's say I want to get in and out of a trade quick. I want to buy a bunch of cheap options because I hope it raises even just $1. If you gave me that question, tell me more. I'm not sure. Can you do that? Yes, you can. I did that today in this name, in Tesla, right? Here's what I did in Tesla. On the 5-minute chart in Tesla, I was trading Tesla. Let me show you this chart. I was trading Tesla options, short dated options, 450 calls in Tesla, and same deal, right? I saw this level, okay, and seemed like a pretty solid level. So I drew my line basically here, right? I said, here's my line. Well, go back. It's just a Tesla day trade. And I drew my level. I said, if we break definitively over that level, I'll get in. So I started to see this thing compress. It had the run, rest, run. And when it broke that, I got in about 11:35 with my target up here at pretty much like you see my target zone right here, right? And once I saw this candle right here break lower and close below that high, that's what I stopped out right here. So I had a quick move from here on this break, right? And did it come back down? Yes. Did it get supported by the 8? Yes. And so I took it here from a break right here of 450, which I'm pretty sure I called out to you, for you folks in my Omen service. And then it ran up to 454. Above that, I sold it. So pretty much it was a nice move. Let's see, it took 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45-minute trade in this one, right? 45-minute trade in this one. And so, yeah, can you buy a bunch of them? Yeah, I had 10 contracts. It went up $4, sold them, right? Because I was intending it to be a day trade. So, yes, you can do that. Okay, here's another good question. Do this one. So why, he said, I don't understand why you call out trades when the price is over the call price, right? Well, let's look at FitB. For example, we're going to look at FitB. This one made me money. Okay, now I don't remember where I said on the 50, I said on the 50 over 50.48. I call that out today, 50.48. I'm not sure, but essentially when you, two reasons for this. First reason, let me put this back. If I call out the $50 calls and price is above it, that's because the $50 calls is what smart money was buying. That's really the only reason. Second reason, if I say I like it above this price level, it's because that level is resistance. And if it can break that level, it can likely run hard. So again, it's just part of my plan, right? Sometimes we buy in the money, right? Now, I don't try to go super far in the money because, it's expensive and the delta maturation isn't that good. But if that's what smart money is buying, that's what I'm buying. Now, I try not to buy as many breakouts because, they're more risky. But just like I showed you in Tesla a second ago, that's the level. I want to see that level break. And if it breaks, boom, you see it ran hard in 45 minutes. Good. That's what we want. Good question. All right. Let's see. Here we go. For a new student using a trade order that is a first trigger 3 OCO with, yeah, that could make sense. I mean, so here's the question. For a new student, they are using a trade order that is a first trigger OCO, 3 OCO. What is that? That means a 1 cancels 1. So when price gets to that level, it will set up 3 matching orders. The first with a profit target of 25%. Second with target of 50%. And third with target of 100%. But the counter order, meaning the order that will sell the trade for a loss, is at 30%. Now, can you do this? Can you do this? Yes, I like doing this. But after the first target of 25% is hit, I move my other stop orders up to like break even. Why? I don't want a winning trade to turn into a loser. Now, some of you guys are going to ask, how do we do that? Right? And I'll show you how. You can do it in Active Trader. So let me try this. Okay, let's say I'm trading the Active Trader for, let's just look at one here. Let's just say, like, I took this trade today. I like this trade. Oh, darn it. Let's find another trade. Let's take a look at like this trade. Okay. LAC. All right. This was on the chart today. So you go up here and you go to OCO, but OCO is different with like target with 3 brackets. Okay. So I click that and I have this preset. So 1, 1, and 1. So we got to change these to percentages. Change this to 25%. And change this to negative 30%. Not a great, risk to reward, but that's fine. Change this to 50%. And then I like to change this one. Let's just go 25. And then this one, I'll change to 20, and I'll show you why, and then make that 100. Okay. Now, what you can do here is you can save this as a template, right? You can just say, hey, I want to save this. I like this. So to do that, I think it's here, save custom order template. I already have this saved, but this is how you do it. So I'll go in here and go to mine, right here. So here, same thing, right? 20, we'll make this 25 and 50. Okay, so that's the thing. Now, if I say I want 3, let's say I want to buy this if it breaks out at like 315. Okay, and I put that order in. Here's what it does. Okay, it puts in a stop order here at 25%, a stop order in here. Where's it at? Of 25%, or sorry, 20%, stop order at 40%, stop order in up here at 100%. But then the other ones are down here. And so I'll try and move these things around, if I can. And I can, like once the first order hits, I will take it off and I'll move the other ones back up to break even, if that makes sense, right? So that's one way to do this. Good question. Let's see where we're at in time. 8:43. I got about 12 minutes left. So we're cruising through these questions. I hope that's helpful. Let me take this off. Cancel 3 orders. So now they're all gone. That is one way to do it. But I do like to move the stops up to break even when I'm done. Good question. Okay. Best screener for options, calls, and puts. I would say my favorite is the one I built, the Omen screener, because it tells me when smart money is moving. Here's an example. Here's the screener. And this morning, APLD hit. Early. And I saw these APLD Jan 16 $38 calls. Bam, 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 early on. So that's what I traded and did pretty well, made 40% on those. So that's the screener I use. Hope that's helpful. Okay, let's go back. Let's look at the next question. All right, so lots of questions here about ATR. Question about your ATR strategy. Do you avoid mean reversion trades when the ATR bands are strongly sloped in one direction or another? No. When ATR hit, Tesla hit a negative ATR. If the ATR slope was steeply down, is that a no trade for calls? Okay. Fairly, I think I figured it out. All right. So here, let's talk for a second about ATR. This will be the last question we answer, right? ATR strategy. Let me explain it to you guys. This is a pure math strategy, meaning that the ATR is how much the name, I should say the ticker, moves on any given time frame, right? So daily ATR is the daily average true range, right? The Keltner channels show when a name has moved up 3 ATR or down 3 ATR. These are both extreme levels, meaning there is a higher probability, like I say math, that in time price will revert back from where it came. So if price moves to a negative or positive 3 ATR, you can play calls back to the upside or puts to the downside and aim to get at least a 1 ATR move, if not a reversion back down to the center. So let's look at an example of this, right? Let's look at an example of this. And let me get up this. Let me get this up. Get this very specific chart out. Okay, so a great example here, right? Let's just look at Google. Here's Google. Now, you guys see this, just so you know, with this setup, the bright blue, one might call it cyan, is the center, right? Yellow is 1 ATR. Red is 2 ATR. And blue, light blue, is 3 ATR. So notice this. When you look at this here, Google went all the way up here to like a 4 ATR. Dang, it opened this day on October 30th at a 4 ATR. Dang, that is an extreme move. The probability, right? The probability. You said green is, yeah, I'm sorry. Green, yellow, red, blue. Excuse me. Forgive me. Green is 1 ATR. 2, 3, 4. 4. Now, Google right here opened up the day at like a 5 ATR. What do they call that? That is a word that starts with B. That's bananas. That's an extreme move. The probability that it would go to a 6 ATR is crazy. And so when it went up that high, that could have been a great time to buy puts and short it simply based on math. And when I say math, here you go. Example. October 30th, Google gapped up to a 5 ATR. That is a way extreme move that could have been shorted based on the math. Now, when I say math, what do I mean? Well, let's look at Google for the full year and tell me, this is the move. How many times this year on this chart that you're looking at did Google get to what you would consider a 5 ATR, a massive, massive move beyond the blue? How many times this year? How many times? I'll get to daily routine next, Devin. I'm not going to lose you. Once. On October 30th. Mathematically, this just doesn't happen. Notice, where does it stay? It almost always stays between the red lines. Sometimes, a few select times, it gets down to 4 ATR, like here. Or sometimes it gets up to a positive 4 ATR, like here. This was a massive move right here. And if you short it, well, you could have, but this was just a massive move. This was a gap up, massive move. Okay. And if you short it, you got to keep your stops tight. But this was an extreme for sure. This was an extreme for sure. And so I say this is where if I get it down here and I'm starting to get up to the 3 ATR, now you know why I took off most of my 320 calls up there at 334, because that's the 3 ATR. That is an extreme move. 4 almost never happens. 5 almost never happens. Okay. But the ATR strategy can be used on every time frame. So just a heads up. Happen. Okay. All right. This can work on almost any time frame, but you have to give your option time for the price to revert. I generally give it on the daily chart 2 weeks. Okay. All right. Last thing we're going to cover here in the time I got left is daily routine, because that's what's being asked about. Daily routine, right? Daily routine. Thoughts on daily routine? All right. Number one, all right, prep, meaning get your body ready, work out, get out the stress and excess energy that might put you into a trade, right? Get your spirit worked out, spirit ready. That is, I like to practice, I like to pray and practice. Okay. Gratitude. So I don't look for trades, but wait for them to come to me. I'm not, if I have a grateful mind, I'm not thinking, oh, I need this today. Oh, I need this. I got to have this, right? Because then you're looking for something you want, not something that is. And then finally, your mind ready. Okay. What strategy or setup will you employ? All right. What is the condition of the market overnight? Don't want to fight that. All right. And what names are already moving that you might watch? Okay. So that's kind of creating a list. So I have, I know what I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to put this down here. So what's the market conditions? Good, bad, otherwise. Number two, what's already moving down or up that I might like? And then three, based on market conditions, what's already moving, what strategy might I employ? So one idea, one possible thing, if market is strong, look for strong names pre-market that pull back. Okay. And buy with a tight stop, looking for a retrace to highs. Now, I'm not saying this is what you have to do every time, but an example of this, pretty sure it was from today. I got to look at my trades for today. But one example of this, let's say from today, market was relatively strong today. And this was a name today that I found interesting, right? So here's Google today. I traded this today. All right. Now, Google was strong Friday. Yes or no? Strong Friday. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. And then it pulled back, held support, and then into the day, it looks strong. Right? It looks strong into the day. So it's coming up. Look, strength in the morning. So let me label this and then I'll be done. Okay. And then, so here was my strategy. Let me clean this up. So morning strength. Now keep in mind, market was strong. SPY, QQQ. So I'm not fighting the tide. Okay. And then here, waited for the pullback. Right. Then saw smart money buys. Right. Clear stop with target. And when it bounced back up from this level, right, of 325 back up here to 329, I sold some. All right. And then it ran up here more. I sold some more here. Right. And then when it ramped to 333, I sold some more here. So from today, so let me do this for today. Right. So you guys can see it. Example from today. Google started strong. I looked, come on, for the pullback level near low of day, right? Bought there with tight stop, roughly like 20%, right? Targeted high of day near 329, and then 331, and then 333. Now it went to 334, but I was out and moved on. Okay. So that's how I got myself prepared for the day, right? For the day trade, was that I got my body ready, did a workout, ran a mile, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, protein shake, spirit ready. In the morning, I did a prayer walk, talked to my wife, practiced gratitude, talked about the things I was thankful for. And then I got my mind ready, looked for the conditions of the market, found a couple names that were strong, got confirmation from the smart money, waited for the pullback because that was my strategy, got in with a tight stop, and then moved on. So hope that answers your questions. Friends, it's 9 o'clock. It's good to be with you guys. Let me ask this question. Did you enjoy yourself? Number one. Number two, did you learn something today? Because that's really what it's all about. It's all about the fact that did you learn something? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this in the chat so you guys can have it. Oh, it says no chance you're going to put that in the chat. Way too big. I don't know how to get these to you. I'll find a way to do it. Let me stop sharing. Let's see, is there a way? I don't know if there's a way to send these notes to you, but I'll figure it out. But regardless, friends, I'm glad you came. I hope it was helpful. Always want to be here to help you guys learn something, do something, get better, do more, be more, have more, and help more. That's ultimately what it's about. So appreciate you guys. And hey, you know, any way that I can be of service to you, let me know. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be putting links soon on my website for these charts so you guys can have them for yourself. But I fly to Vegas early in the morning. I'm going to be there most of the week with the Inner Circle members for Tim Sykes live in person. And if you want to come live in person and join me, let me put that link up for you guys and you can do it. Find that for you so you guys can join me if that's what you want to do. Here's what I'll put this in the chat. But chat. There you go. There's still too many. Let's see. There it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, for those who want to join me and click that link, you can join me. Now it's $1,000 for a full live day of trading. I know it might sound like a lot, but I'm giving all the proceeds to the Austin Fuller School. Former student of mine lost his life we're building a school in his name. So that's what I got. Always good to be with you. Always appreciate your time and your attention. Is there a page that teaches the strategies you teach during boot camp? Autumn, I don't think so. I don't think so. And yes, it's in Florida. Correct. Yeah, it's in Florida. You guys can join me there if you want. But as always, if you got questions, hit me up. Hello. Here, I'm going to put this in. Hello at bensturgill.com or sign up at bensturgill.com. Subscribe, and I will do my best to answer your questions there. We're creating a Q&A and all the stuff that goes there. So appreciate you guys. Be good. Be good to others. Hey, there's a lot of need in the world. You can do a lot of good if you got the heart to help and the eyes to see it. So see it, help it. Hopefully I help you guys tonight and you guys just go pay it forward. Be blessed, and hopefully you can be a blessing to somebody else. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.